Hi, I'm Andy Deitmeyer, chef for Mercy Medical Center in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And today we're going to be making a nice dessert. It's going to be a chocolate and Irish cream frozen Greek yogurt.
And I'm Terry Clark, dietitian at Mercy Medical Center in Cedar Rapids. So today's dessert, this frozen yogurt, will be made with Greek yogurt, which is a higher protein. It does have some fat in it, but not a lot of fat. It's about 200 calories per serving, about 7 grams of fat. And it also is going to give you the great benefits of calcium as well.
So chose this selection today because it's very simple, straightforward, easy to make. Frozen yogurt is a lot simpler to make than something like a traditional ice cream where you've got to worry about tempering eggs and creaming eggs and all this and that. This is a very straightforward method, very simple. We only have about 3 or 4 ingredients and that's going to be it. So I've got just some basic plain Greek yogurt here, unflavored. You could use vanilla or something like that. I've got just some semi-sweet chocolate chips, some granulated sugar, and some Irish cream. The nice thing, the purpose for using alcohol, one is going to be it's going to add great flavor. Things like schnapps, that type of thing, add a lot of flavor to your ice creams or sorbets, whatever you're going to make, or in this case, frozen yogurt. But it also helps reduce the freezing temperature, the freezing point. And the purpose of that is to keep it preventing it to turning into an ice cube in your container once it sets up in the freezer. This will help keep it, allow it to keep a nice soft texture, and you can actually be able to scoop it rather than having to let it sit out for 2 hours to thaw before you can actually scoop it. So that's the purpose with having the alcohol, and then making sure we have the right amount of sugar. A general rule of thumb, we're going to make a quart batch today. For a quart batch of any type of frozen dessert, about 2 tablespoons of alcohol will help keep that freezing point just right so it has a nice texture so it doesn't freeze rock solid. The only thing is with alcohol, it almost acts as like an antifreeze in ice cream as well, so in frozen desserts. So if you add too much, your ice cream, frozen yogurt, sorbet, whatever it may be, won't set up. So don't go overboard because it'll just be soupy and it will never freeze up on you. So upwards of 2 tablespoons per quart is about right. Maybe back that down a little bit to about a tablespoon, tablespoon and a half if it's a higher percentage alcohol like a whiskey or brandy or something like that. But in this case, something low alcohol like Irish cream, we can do 2 to 3 tablespoons and it'll still set. So I got my liquor, my sugar, and my chocolate chips. I'm just going to bring this to warm it up and melt the chocolate chips. So we're just making, basically we're making like a Irish cream chocolate kind of sauce here, which we'll then fold into and whisk into our our Greek yogurt. You just want to do this at a low heat. Certainly don't want to make sure that you don't scorch the chocolate. Whisking often. Certainly won't take long. Melting down real nice here. We just want to get this to the point where our chocolate is melted down nice and smooth and our sugar is dissolved. You can see we got a nice, smooth kind of consistency here. Our sugar is dissolved, our chocolate is melted. That's all we're looking for. And we're just going to fold that right into our yogurt. Nice. Very good. I really like the Greek yogurt because it has a little bit of that tartness to it. Coupled with the sugar and the chocolate, really gives a really nice, interesting flavor profile. This would be great served with some fresh berries when it's done. So we got our our mix here, ready to go into the freezer. Now, if you don't have a nice commercial ice cream maker, that's fine. The same ones you can pick up any store like Target or Walmart, things like that. Very simple. They're very cheap, maybe about 20 bucks. They work great. The only difference would be that you have to load them and surround them with ice and rock salt. But you know, it's a simple method of just putting ice around it, a little salt, another layer of ice, and you just keep building that until your canister, the surrounding thing that surrounds the canister, is full of ice and salt. But in this case, we have a commercial grade one, so we're going to load it into our freezing chamber. And since we're starting with a cold base, this should be spun in about 15 to 20 minutes, and that'd be the same even with any other any ice cream maker that you'll find. So what happens when you're making ice cream is that the difference, or even frozen yogurt or sorbet or any of those things, to make a really nice product, what we're doing while we're freezing it is we're incorporating air into it. That's what gives it that light, airy texture, makes it super creamy, soft. So as it's freezing, this paddle in here is churning and it's incorporating air, almost like you're making whipped cream. Same kind of concept. It's incorporating air as it's freezing, and that's what. So this volume will almost double in volume when you're making a good ice cream. So we'll come back to that in a few minutes. Okay, so our yogurt has been spinning in the ice cream freezer for about 15 to 20 minutes, and it is now done. And you will be able to know when your ice cream or your yogurt or sorbet is done because you'll be able to see the texture and consistency of it and the thickness. You'll notice that it won't get totally thick and hard, like totally set like you'd expect it to come out of the freezer, because and you really don't want that because you don't want to burn up the motor on your ice cream spinner. So you want it to have a little bit of softness in there yet, and then you take it the rest of the way in the freezer so it can set properly. But in this point in the game, we just want to get that air whipped into it and get it pretty firm. Then we transfer it to the freezer. So we can kind of see we've got a really nice consistency. You can kind of see how that it's just right now. And it's got really nice air content. Frozen yogurt won't get as much volume as, say, like a traditional ice cream. It won't totally double in size, but it certainly did increase its volume here, and that's a good sign. That means we got some air whipped into it. So let's get a couple scoops out here and. But it's a great consistency, and the nice thing is because we got just the right amount of sugar and alcohol in there, that we're always going to be able to work with this. It's not going to turn into a brick in the freezer. Again, like I said, the little bit of tartness that is naturally present in Greek yogurt is really going to lend itself nice to a nice garnish, something like strawberries, something like that. And there you have it. We have chocolate and Irish cream frozen Greek yogurt.